Okay, so what I wanted to quickly go over is, and you saw like there's actually quite a lot going on in these plans, despite the fact that it's a very limited arsenal of new commands. But I also wanted to give you a bit of an opportunity to think a bit outside of your regular box to a degree. Yeah. T-splines, as you know, is a subdivision model. We've talked about it quickly. And I'm just showing you something that you can basically do in about 10, 15 minutes, yeah, of production time. It's not very difficult to do those things, and I wanted to quickly go through a couple of those things that are actually part of T-splines that are very useful for us as architects. Again, T-splines has limitations in its applicability. Yeah. It has the precision that comes with T-splines is not exactly the one that we would be sometimes looking for as architects. And it's also much more geared to more freeform organic design scenarios, as you could see with the piping tool and stuff like this, where you can nicely modify, arrange, and organize your like a skeletal kind of like system. But in the end, like there is a material limitation if you scale this up to an architectural scale with a material limitation in terms that what material are you using, what's the production process involved in actually getting those things done. Which is fine to a degree because we want to look into a future of potential production, but at the same time you also have to cope with the reality that everybody's still using 2x4s, 2x6s, and that we're using wide flanges, and that we're having certain pre-formatted building material we're actually dealing with. And so T-splines, again, has a relatively limited application, which still, I think I wanted to give you a few opportunities to explore it. And again, ultimately what it is with Ryan, and I know you guys are struggling currently to figure out how do I draw a ramp on a hillside. Yeah? Like those freaking simple things, yeah, that is really hard for you, obviously, to execute. And partially, that it's pretty awkward to draw it's actually pretty easy. I'm going to show you quickly. How about that? It's still the problems that come with those type of things. Yeah, you start realizing like how challenging it is to operate outside of your model. Yeah, because we're used to kind of like it's very easy to go on a flat side with a 400 feet by 400 feet and start building like a high-rise or skyscraper, and still that is very difficult and challenging, even if you use Revit and stuff. But once you're in an environment that is much more organic, yeah, like a hillside, and you have to deal with a regulatory environment like an ADA ramp, yeah, these things don't nicely correspond to each other. Yeah? That is just the nature of it. Yeah? And that is part of the exercise, a lesson you should take actually also from our 201 and 201L, that there are actually much more interesting environments, yeah, where code and so forth is a really tricky thing to kind of like work with. Yeah? So shall we quickly test out a few examples on how to do like a ramp, like a curved ramp or something? Yeah. It's actually really easy. Okay. All right. Well, let me quickly zoom out here, because we're gonna go back to this then very quickly, yeah, in a second. So let's say you wanna do a ramp path that is something like this. Let's assume this is your ramp path, and it's a floor plan type thing. Oops, sorry. So if this is your ramp path, this is gonna be a bit challenging to kind of like educate yourself, like, okay, how much distance is what, and how do I then actually get a thickness to this? So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you a few things. So first of all, you can measure the length. That's pretty easy. Yeah? So just typing in length. Yeah? You can insert at certain points. Yeah? You can actually divide this length into the increments you want to be using. And remember, we already know where we start with and where we end with. So either you draw in the right direction or you use the command we use. And I keep constantly forgetting which one it is. Remember the one I told you I keep constantly forgetting? Yeah, I did it again. Okay. Yeah. So curve seen, yeah, so you can actually adjust this. So for example, here, your division of your line already can indicate you how long it is. So now we said it's 212 units long. In this case, it's millimeters, just because I didn't pay attention to my original starting unit system. But actually, we need, let's say, we need 12 feet or like 12 units, or let's say 120, because this is kind of like a nice little breakdown. Let's say 120, so we kind of know where we get our 1 to 12 kind of like going, right? So we know the direction, which is indicated by the white arrows. You guys have all that, right? I just drew a random curve just to demonstrate. Yeah? So I'm typing in now in my length 120. And what it does, supposedly does, oops. Actually, what I'm going to do, length is 120. And why does it not pop up? Mark ends, yes. Does it come up here? Yeah, okay. Yeah, here we have, sorry, I did it twice. So here we go. Why is this weird? Hold on. Divide. Split. Let's try to split it first. Yeah. And the length I want to do is the curved length is 120 split yes. So now, oh yeah, there we go. Now I have only the 120-inch long length. There's something weird going on because usually it shouldn't. Does yours also kind of disappear?
No.
Okay, because like mine does that for whatever reason. I probably didn't set it up properly. Just what you should have. You guys have a marking point at the 120. You guys get a point at the end?
I get points. I've done divide and I get points.
Yeah, that's what I do too. So I must have probably not set it up properly yet. Divide, length, split, yes, length, 120, split, and it still just caps it off. It's very odd that it does this to me. In any case, technically you would get a point here. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I'm gonna quickly do. Why is this dividing? Oh, I need to set the number of segments. Let's say 2 or 3, 2. Okay, now I got the point. So that's what it was. I had only one segment defined. I need to obviously set up at least one more segment or 2 segments, and I get my length of 120. So that's pretty good here. So what I'm going to do next is my bad. Okay, I'm extruding this for a certain height because I already know my ramp needs to be at least 10 units in vertical. Yeah, so I could either extrude this into 10 units right now, or I just do a certain extrude and then go from there to 10 units. I'm going to show you both, or this one way. So now I have here a point. I can now extract an isocurve in this particular case, yeah, and move this one, and I'm toggling it to the V direction. Yeah, so I'm getting actually an isocurve exactly at this point, yeah, where I want it to be. This is my midpoint. I guess that's also really close to my. Okay, so this is the point where I want to have my 120 set up, right? So I could divide this one now up again to get to my 10 point, or I just measure 10 units up in this, which I'm going to do. I'm going to just move this in this particular case, this point, and make a copy of this point and say 10 up. Yeah. So I'm getting actually this point and this point. And actually what I can do now is I can actually draw along this curve, this surface or curve, free from, interpolate on surface. You guys see this? Yeah? I can draw now a curve that connects those 2 points on this surface. Yeah? Select the surface, draw from this point to the other point, yeah. And I'm actually getting, supposedly, where is it? Did it not show up? And I did not show up. Okay, that's one more. Surface draw, start of curve is this curve. Oh, it doesn't snap to my point. So it does not snap. I mean, this is my new computer. You see, I'm having great time with it. No, I think it can actually, no, now it worked. Okay, I just must have double clicked something quicker. So now I'm getting here actually exactly my ramp at the curvature as I want. Yeah? That does not include a landing or anything, but at least it includes already the slope of the ramp. So all I need to do now is offset this curve. Yeah? Yeah? Whatever units I have, yeah? Let's say 5 feet or 550 or whatever it is. Yeah? In this case, we have, yeah, let's just do 5. Yeah? So we get a slim ramp. And I'm offsetting this in the x-axis. Yeah? And loft it, and I should have a decent ramp. Of course, I'm running into some related issues, which are a bit around here. So there's other ways you can do this also. But I think it's a pretty quick and appropriate way of creating a slow curve ramp. It's a good start, at least. Yes?
When you do the offset, that made the surface or it made the so you offset the line.
I offset this curve in the x and y direction. Here's the trick about this offsetting. This is not a, again, like what I'm pointing out is here, actually, technically, this is not 100% accurate. Yeah? Yeah, because this point of the curve is slightly higher than this because it depends on the offset direction. So probably the best solution would be to extrude this curve on both sides, yeah, so that it becomes the center curve. So this way you would have a more accurate thing. But I think the offset does, in this case, yeah, this is the other way you could do it. You could actually offset this, first offset the surface. Yeah, we don't want to make it solid, we want to offset it 5. Yeah? And start the same line process again, yeah? And then create your then create the second curve. Yeah? You follow me?
So then you have 2 curves. How would you connect those two?
Loft them. Yeah. Yeah. So there's different ways of getting to some precise solution. For most of you, this first solution will actually work pretty well. Yeah. Makes sense? It takes really no time, right, to make a ramp like that. Hey, let's do that. So you got me to the point where I'm measuring basically the ramp up, where I measured out the length of the ramp, right? That was pretty straightforward. So then I moved the isocurve. You got also with me, right? To extract the isocurve and position it on the surface. That's not necessarily always needed to move an isocurve there, because also you need to make sure that you're actually extruding straight up. Because if it's slightly skewed, your extrusion, then your isocurve will also be slightly skewed. So I'm just pointing this out. Very often, simply just draw a straight line up, yeah? Vertical. But at least with, in my case, where I just laid out my path horizontally already, like to perpendicular to or in line with the construction plane, I actually don't run into this case at all. So the next thing is now we have the end point of our first segment of the ramp, let's say, and we have the other point of the segment. And so it involves a bit of thinking and math, yeah. But basically, it's not a big deal. Yeah? So what you do is then you draw a curve, and it's a freeform curve that you interpolate on the surface. Right? So this makes automatically the curve, and you can draw a curve with multiple points. You can draw I can show you. So you select the surface, draw from the end point where we start building our ramp up, go to this point, and you see it becomes automatically a member of the surface because it's interpolating this on the surface. Draw the point, and then I could continue. If I have another point, let's say I have a longer ramp and I need another point and another point and another point, and I want to create those instances, I could actually do that. Yeah. Yeah, so I can actually continue then even with a steeper curve. What it does, however, this is the thing that you have to observe, it changes the curvature. Yeah? In this case, since I have only 2 points, I'm likely going to get a relatively straight line out of it. Yeah? Yes?
Could you incorporate landings?
Not so easily. You would need to stop and start the process again. Yeah? For your own sake, actually, in this case. Yeah? The way you could be doing this entirely, this ramping, is right across. That's actually, to be honest, that's the easiest way to go about this. And that would be for pretty much every software. There is no solution for that in an ideal fashion. Like in Revit or in ArchiCAD, you have like those ramp tools, yeah, and those staircase tools, but they're extremely limited in their expression. Like those springboard staircases and things are generally a nice thing. Yeah. Yes.
That isocurve from all the way from the beginning is pretty different.
The isocurve I'm extracting, and isocurve, there's a command extract isocurve.
So,
Remember I showed you this a couple of classes ago?
yeah.
I do.
Okay, good. You're not making yourself very popular. You should be on the other side of the Show a bit more solidarity with your colleagues. You don't need to be solitary with me. Okay, Alejandro, did you get it?
I know the extract isocurve commands that I don't know where to draw the isocurve.
Oh, where to draw the isocurve? Well, I draw it where the point is, like that I got from the division.
No, like when I type isocurve to draw an isocurve.
Extract isocurve.
Oh, okay.
That's the command. Extract isocurve. Yeah. Got it now?
Yes.
Okay. Are we good on that? Did this help you? Okay, here's the deal, guys. If you run into those modeling issues or something related, yeah, I assume you all purchased an official legal version of Rhino, right?
You assume right.
Okay, good. All right, because you can get actually a lot of answers on the Rhino forum as well. Yeah, they have a very good, nice open source forum if you run into some of these issues. The second thing is you can actually ask me or senior students as well. And there's a couple of people that, there's not a lot of people who use Rhino as extensively as I do to a degree, but there's a couple of faculty that actually know it as well.
Can you name a few?
So, with this, are we good? What other problems do we have? What other problems do we have? Like knowing how much we're excavating and things like this?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How did I know that you would ask me that? Yeah. Okay, let's quickly go about this for a moment. Yeah. Well, it's actually relatively easy. Yeah. But it requires a huge precision on your end. Yeah. Because let's quickly create, let's use this surface I just created. I'm just going to flip it over here. Use this as my topo. Yeah. I'm going to quickly stretch it a bit out. Yeah, so it's more like a topo. And change degree quickly. So I'm getting free. And I'm quickly going to edit the 2 points out. So I'm getting a bit more an articulated surface going on here. Yeah. Yeah, let's say this is fine. So now let's say you're putting a box. Most of you are doing boxes. I'm putting a box here into my design. Move it a bit forward, move it a bit into the slope. Oops. Something that looks vaguely familiar to what you're doing, right? To a degree, right? Okay, I recommend to those, especially when you have a complex surface topo, and you all have a topo. I know that because we already asked for that from you. Yeah? So there's no excuse. So what you can do now is like, can I get some attention, guys? If you have some questions, please ask me. Yeah? But I also want you to understand what's going on here right now. So we know that this volume that it dropped into the surface is actually what we would call excavation. Yeah? Like it stops right where it intersects, where the box intersects with my surface here in this particular case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 steps just to make sure that I'm getting it all right. Yeah? I'm actually intersecting those two. Yeah? So I'm getting now one intersection curvature out of this. Yeah? This is just a simple curve in this particular case. Just to demonstrate, this is just a curve. Yeah? Yeah? So this one, yeah, so good. Okay, just say it's all good. That sounds good. So this is one way of doing this. So what I'm doing now is I'm quickly gonna, because I don't want to destroy my design, so I need to actually make a duplicate of this intersecting volume in this particular case. Yeah. So I'm doing a copy, and I make this copy in place. So I'm actually making a copy on top of it. Yeah. So you see, like there's a vertical and in place once I type in copy. And I click on here and in place. So this means there's now a second object on top of my other object. Yeah? So this is what I'm gonna say. This is my original design. So I'm gonna freeze it quickly or hide it. Yeah? So I'm not touching it. That's the only reason I'm doing this. Yeah? Yeah? So now I have only one box. So this box, I'm using this to trim the top of my box off. Yeah? So I'm seeing now the original volume, but I have now the bottom volume. Oops. Not right now. Okay. Now I have now the bottom volume basically following this out. Yeah. So now I'm using this curvature I had before, and there's many ways you can do it. I'm just doing a bit the slower step because sometimes those geometries are a bit wacky. Yeah. So I want to give you all the tools and the opportunities to do something. Yeah. So I'm using this now to split my original surface. So I'm making actually a copy of this surface also, so that I don't lose it. Yeah? In place. Yeah? And freeze it again. Yeah. So now I have only one surface. Yeah. I'm using actually now I could actually what I can do now simply is I'm using this line to trim this away. I could do a Boolean operation also already with my volume, but not you don't always have necessarily consistent volume. Yeah, there might be a collection of multiple volumes. Then those things become tricky. Yeah? That's why I'm doing the outline for you guys. Yeah? Do you understand that? Follow me? It's like when you have like those staggered interactions, you need to do this step by step. Yeah? Yeah. Or you draw an outline around the staggered pieces and create a volume this way. Yeah. So I'm using this to trim this away. So now I have here a surface and here a surface. These guys I can now pull out. This is my excavation. Yeah. I'm joining them. Make sure it's one object when I'm going to my details. It's one polished surface. And now I can just type in volume. Oops, volume. And I get exactly cubic millimeters in this particular case. So you will get then probably cubic feet or cubic inches out of it. And then it's a matter of just simply translating it into cubic yards. Yeah. How do we translate cubic feet into cubic yards? Hello? Multiply by 27, exactly. When you go from cubic feet to cubic yards, you multiply. Ah, yeah, yes, you're right, Divide it, sorry, my apologies. Yeah, nice. Don't worry about it. You divide by the 27, so you get down to the lower number. Yeah. Okay? Is this now also settled-ish? Any questions to this volumetric operations? Hello? Are we all good?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Did this help? Okay. Okay, I'm happy to do some of those troubleshootings with you if you guys want to do that. But I also would like to move on a bit. We have about 20 minutes left. Let's make it easy so we can quickly model something, right? Any questions? Yes. Hold on, guys. That's one question.
You said that you intersect both the topo and the volume, and then copy and paste, and then you said trim, but you didn't trim the split.
I did trim actually, but I have made a copy first of my original surface. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Here's the thing: is when you do a volume calculation, you will have to basically extract the volume itself. So you need to have multiple copies of your topo and of your geometry, so you don't destroy your geometry. That's the reason I did this. This is trust me, this is a really quick way to do this. Actually, the way I just did it, and it's as long as you get a nice close polished surface, yeah, you will have a very accurate volumetric calculation. That's exactly why I use the intersect command and not the real Boolean operations. Because if you have multiple volumes, yeah, then you get a different intersection. Yes.
Can you just use the actual topography to trim it?
Yeah.
You could?
I could have. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You could. There's a couple of ways. I just did actually really the longer extended way. Here's the reason what happens. So what happens? Let me go quickly back to all those things, yeah, before I think. So what happens if you have a scenario like this, where you have multiple volumes interacting, yeah? Then the Boolean operations is a bit more tricky because you first do Boolean from itself, and then you need to Boolean from the surface and so on. So that's why I use frequently this intersecting tool, yeah, just to get my nice little chunk of surface out. What happens if this is kind of slightly shifted or something? My intersection surface looks quite different, yeah, and I can retain for modeling purposes very easily now those two volumes, yeah. So by just typing intersect, yeah, it actually does a better job in this case. Yeah, in this case, it would actually be a bit trickier, because if I intersect here, I get actually two intersections, actually three, because they're intersecting with itself, like those two volumes with each other. So now I need to divvy those guys out, which is not a big deal, actually. So I'm picking this curve, I make quickly just a copy out of it, yeah. So then I'm using this guy to trim away this guy, yeah? This guy to trim away this guy, join them, and bring them back down where they're supposed to locate, where they're supposed to be located. Yeah? And now I can trim nicely the surface. Yeah.
Thank you.
Is this kind of where you want it to?
Yeah.
Okay. Does this make sense to you guys? Okay. It doesn't always work, especially when you're a sloppy model. Yeah? I'm serious. This is it happens very quickly to become a sloppy modeler. One is rushing, yeah, and you're always in a rush, right? The second thing is actually not paying attention to how you snap and how much you offset and move things around, and that's where Rhino gets really finicky, because that's again, like I think for cleanliness is next to godliness in a sense, like Rhino requires you to be actually fairly accurate, yeah. So you will have to redo and redo it. It's good for like sketching quickly stuff, but you have to go back and revisit it because you run into a lot of problems in long time, yeah. And you want to have a clean Rhino model in the end for all the other operations like section cutting, line cutting, and so forth. So using layers properly and so forth is kind of important. Yeah? So that's why I'm saying this. Try to become a clean modeler, yeah? Which means you pay attention that things join carefully, that things are butting properly, that you have the right sizes of things, yeah? That when you scale something, you really scale carefully. These are the important things I want to point out to you when you use Rhino. Yeah? makes your life so much easier. In general, because we are in a precise profession too. Okay? All right. Now it's 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Still time to do a little T-splines exercise? All right, good. All right. Where are we here? All right. We are done with the topo, with the volumes, and so in T-splines, quickly you guys went through all the tutorials quickly, and I encourage you to do a bit more because I don't think I can go through everything with you on T-splines. The tutorials are really decent. Yeah. So okay, so in order to get to this, what I'm setting myself up here for is actually a couple of things. Like remember, like did you go through already what happens when you have like a curve that is this and a curve that is this? Yeah, and you want to T-spline something in between. Especially interesting if this curve is three-dimensional. Yeah. And this curve changes also its location and proportions. Yeah. So how do we draw this? So because we like a good way to start modeling in T-splines, as you know, you have your own primitives, etc. in T-splines. And a good way to start modeling is either you could just loft it. So if you TS loft it, use loft. Yeah. TS is every command for T-splines. Yeah. So you can type in all your T-splines commands in the text with just adding the TS in front. Yeah. Similar to paneling tools, which has the PP in front of it. And so what it does, let's quickly go to our TS Shiny, which is so awesome. What it does, it actually does not always do a perfect job. The lofting is not necessarily giving you a perfect T-splines result. Yeah? So if I go off a toggle view, you see it's only one surface basically, and then something that actually maybe needs a bit more custom treatment. Yeah? So now I can go in also and do following. I can go and say, okay, I want to do just create my own surface. Yeah? So I can go in and say, I'm going to start here, then I need to find out which point I'm going to put this to. Yeah? And go from here, make surface here, and enter, and then I'm going to repeat this and start at this point, this point, this point, this point, and enter. And I start realizing, oh shoot, every time I do this, this curvature and the relationship is going to change. Might not be also the best method. Yeah? It's a decent one because you can then start pulling your edges and vertices quickly to the right position, but actually there's a quicker method for that. And that goes back to modeling and precision and translating T-splines to a precise kind of like outline. Let's assume those curves are precise edges of a roof or something like this. You want to match the T-spline surface to. Yeah? So, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're actually going to match it. Yeah? So I'm going quickly into the top view because that's all I'm concerned about right now. And I'm doing the same as I did. I'm using the append face tool, yeah, which allows me to create individual T-spline faces. And I'm just going to draw it within the boundaries. Yeah, I'm just drawing it. I'm just continuing, appending. I just right-click and then it attaches automatically to this. And I draw as many as I want, yeah, or need, because I might have a future exploration of this in-between scenario. Yeah. Let's just go kind of like roughly to it. This is also a good tool. See, like it does already nicely shape itself, and then I'm going here. So now I created quickly a T-spline surface. This has nothing to do really with my outline. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go in here and type in TS match, or you go into your matching tool. That's I think it's somewhere here. Match surface. There you go. So TS match allows me points. I'm going to quickly select one edge, and you already know that when I double click on the same edge, I'm selecting the edge chain. Yeah. Yeah. This is the one I want to change. And then I want to adjust it to this curve. Yeah? That's what I'm going to match it to. Yeah? Be careful when you use poly curves or polylines. Yeah? It crashes on it very frequently. Yeah? Not always, but very frequently. Yeah? So always save with T-splines. T-splines has a tendency to crash because it gets very quickly complex and then you're just screwed. And then I want to match it to, so what my preview shows me now is like this is the alignment, that's pretty good. I want exactly this type of alignment. Then I have a continuity option, which has to do with geometry related things, like which geometry gives me continuity. G0 is fine with me. I don't want to use a follow-up. I can use a refinement, which means I'm adjusting my tolerances. And like how close does it need to get to the curve? Yeah? If you want to be very precise, 0.001 on the refinement is important. And click yes, and it does automatically pull it. And I'm doing the same thing. Yeah? Match it, choose this borderline, enter. This is my edge to match. This one, you can see now my alignment is off. Okay? So what I'm going to do is now I flip the alignment direction, and luckily it does the right thing. Remember we had this with lofty move, when the orientation switch around. Yeah. Hit enter, and hit enter, and suddenly I have a T-spline surface that matches exactly my curvatures. Yeah. Pretty cool, right? And then of course I can now go back in and now draw my subdivide in this direction as many as I want. Yeah, so I can subdivide this now, and then I can start turning on my tools here and start pulling on, and start manipulating my edges as I please. Yeah, can add more subdivisions, of course, by adding more edges. This is stuff you were supposed to look at, right? And can pull them individual edges, and it will always match to the original curves. Yeah? Until you change the edges themselves. Yeah? So that's pretty cool and probably very useful. Agree? Yes.
What was it? The first command you drew to make those rectangles, was that plane or?
Oh, a pen face. That basically, a pen face allows you to draw from scratch T-spline faces, surfaces. Yeah? Yes.
What means you to draw a line to the line? Like when you have a surface?
Oh, this line?
Yeah.
Oh, I use the insert edge. Yeah, okay. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have to exercise this a bit because I showed it the last time. I showed you how to subdivide surfaces, right, into more multiple subdivisions. You don't need to use always this command. You can also be very concise and precise and say, oh, I want to just get a line like a subdivision on those three, and I want to have just one split basically. Yeah? So what I do here is I'm inserting an edge, and I'm selecting the edges that I want to split. Yeah? This could be these three. Yeah? Hit enter, and then where T-spline deems it appropriate, it pops up like this blue line, and not on every location, but on most of them, as long as you're following basically your curve here. Yeah? You can position this edge here. Yeah? So I can now go here to another one, yeah? And another one. Yeah? The positive or the great thing about this technique is actually the more you insert it, the more you can control the curvature. Yeah? Yeah, because suddenly I can make this more crease-like appearances. Yeah? As a matter of fact, I can actually crease them themselves. Yeah? If I go to my weird terminology, right? I can actually make this into an actually sharp crease. Pretty cool. But you guys don't like that. Okay, I have 5 more minutes. don't get this exercise for 5 minutes. We have to postpone this until next time, I guess.
Or make a video.
Huh? Or make the videos? What was that? What? Okay. I should make you guys make videos. I think that's a great idea, Paul. Okay, here's what you guys should do as your own exercise. Okay, I'm walking you through right now, and that's why I think you should get this video. Actually, it's not a big deal. We're gonna go through this example next week. Yeah, I just want you to see if you can actually figure it out. This is what I did. Yeah, it's a relatively simple surface, yeah, out of T-splines. And I matched like the opening in between to a circle. So I could, for example, if this would be my canopy, yeah, like a sunshade or something like this, and I still would need to connect it to some regular structural tubing or steel or something like this. Yeah, this would be my regular matching point. Yeah? So what we did here is basically we created a module. You see the underlying grid here. Yeah? That's pretty straightforward. Yeah? Created first one piece. You guys get already the idea how to make this type of thing. Right? What are you going to be using for that? Huh? Bridge. There we go. That's correct. Yeah, the bridge. Yeah? Between components, you need to just check its subdivision. You see, I'm actually not going clean on it. That's where T is shiny is really good because I can see I have some little, kind of like, what do you call this, little weird things. I have a German word for it, but it's like, doesn't really matter. Boiler, yeah, or Uber, doesn't really matter. And what you can do then is you can multiply this piece by just arraying it, yeah? Creating an array. And then you can just weld the edges together. Yeah? And then, once you welded the edges together, you draw your little circle and connect the leftover opening out of this weld, yeah? And match it to this circle. So pretty straightforward. Shouldn't take you more than 20 minutes. I unfortunately have only 1 minute, but it's actually really easy. So how would we start? Let me just at least give you a little clue. So how would we start? Remember how we just started with the 10 faces? In this case, we can do this too. I'm just starting somewhere here and just working my way through, like giving a couple of subdivisions. Yeah. I'm not even precise on that. Yeah, I'm just drawing it. Yeah. So, oops.
You know if you're hitting the line.
So you see, like it's not shaping already by itself. And then I'm gonna intersect this, and then done. And what I would do next? You insert more edges, yeah, for example. Yeah, because when I want to edit this right now, I only have how many faces do I have? Like I have only these 4 faces. So I need to start subdividing it into more. And in this case, I used obviously at least 2 ridges, yeah, to pull out those ridges. So I would probably subdivide it at least 2 or 3 times. So I get 1 valley and 2 ridges. So I have 3 subdivisions for that. If I want to be a bit precise, I make 5 or 7, something like this. But that's up to you. And then, obviously, in order to connect those, I need to subdivide it a bit more so I can actually subtract those 2 faces that I want to bridge. Then I can get the resulting opening, and then I can bridge between those openings. Yeah. Then I can duplicate those faces, and here's a full command. Yeah, I'm just going to show you this quickly. So one thing we have not really done, I'm doing this quickly roughly. So see now, I can actually use a weld command. I have here a welder tool, yeah, merge edges. I can just click here and merge it with this one.
Oh, they don't do Photoshop.
No, they don't. Okay. No. So the problem what's come up here is I have already a weird situation, so it might not merge my second here, but you can have chain edges also merge each other. So it doesn't want to do the second one anymore. So I probably will have to go here and say, okay, I want to merge edges. Yeah. Select 1, 2, enter, and select the corresponding 2 edges, and then it does it. Pretty simple, very easy. Happy canopies. Yeah, big canopies.